All right, so we're going to talk about keys for success for Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders against Kansas State's defense, which I think is probably one of the better defenses in the Big 12. So we're going to talk about Kansas State's defense, kind of preview them real quick, then talk about the keys for Shedeur. There's like 3 or 4 main keys I want to hit on, and then we'll look at some film, maybe in like 3 minutes or so. Look at a few clips of Kansas State's defense, and then look at a few clips of Shedeur Sanders, the type of plays he's going to need to have to beat Kansas State. It is broadcast footage. If you follow us along, you know that we have to slow down the video, but it does a good job getting the point across. So let's talk about Kansas State's defense first. If I have to say like one theme for their defense, they're going to want to try to get pressure, at least in my opinion, without having to blitz a ton. I think they're going to try to get pressure with 3 or 4 guys without having to bring more than that, so they can drop 7 or 8 in the back and defend the pass. Against Arizona, they blitzed 24% of passing plays. Against Oklahoma State, they blitzed 30% of passing plays, right? Now, Shedeur's been good against the blitz, and he's been good when teams have dropped 7 or 8. So I think a lot of this will just depend on if Colorado can get the run game going like they did against UCF, this may change some things. So we're going to look at Kansas State's defense here in a second. And one other thing to note is they've done a good job making in-game adjustments. If you go back, if you're a Colorado fan, go back and watch the game against Kansas State played Arizona. Arizona had a great first opening drive. They drove down the length of the field, scored a touchdown, then they didn't score the rest of the game. So they're able to make a lot of in-game adjustments to stop Noah Fafita, who's a pretty good quarterback in his own right. Okay, so let's talk about Shedeur Sanders. I think the main theme for Shedeur is going to be what he's done every game is he's going to have to do a little bit of everything. And we talked about this in the UCF kind of a recap video. He's going to have to do a little bit of everything. I think that's what it's going to take to win the game. Now, if they can get the run game going like they did against UCF, that's going to be a huge load off Sanders. So, of course, I think, we just talked about quarterbacks and we're just previewing from the quarterback perspective. But if you get the run game going, I think that can really help Sanders and the Colorado offense. But let's talk about Sanders. Let's keep it on the quarterback. Key number 1, I think you're going to have to hit on some vertical shots. Sanders has 16 completions of the ball, thrown 20 yards or more downfield. I think you have to have a few of those against Kansas State, even if they are dropping 7 or 8 and trying to defend that. But you have, I think, some of the best receivers in college football. You have one of the best quarterbacks in college football. So I think you're going to have to hit on some vertical shots to win the game. And key number 2, before you hit on these vertical shots, I think you're going to have accuracy on short to intermediate throws to allow your receivers to pick up some yak yards, get the defense to creep in, and then take your shot deep there. Key number 3, you're going to have to utilize your legs. You have to buy some time to throw, and we've seen that a lot this season, not even because the offensive line's giving up pressure, which of course at times they have, but just because Sanders is waiting for plays to develop. He doesn't want to throw away on a certain play, right? You see him buy time, scramble, use his legs, and throw on the run. And then key number 4, and this is probably obvious, just give Travis Hunter a shot. Just throw it up to one of the best, if not the best players in all of college football. So just give him a shot, right? So like we talked about, Sanders is going to have to do a little bit of everything, I think, to beat Kansas State, hit on some vertical shots. But before you hit on vertical shots, you want to, I think, get rid of the ball quickly, set up some short to intermediate throws to let your receivers get some yak yards, utilize your legs to buy time, and then give Shedeur Sanders a shot and just throw it up to him. So we're going to watch a few clips of Kansas State's defense and then a few clips of Shedeur Sanders doing what we just talked about here in a second. And I want to hear from y'all, though. Like, what do you think the keys need to be for Sanders? So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And we're also going to watch these clips. And, any questions anytime, please let us know your thoughts. With that said, let's go ahead and watch these film clips, and then we'll wrap this video up. We're going to watch a few clips of Kansas State's defense. This is 2. Then we'll watch a few clips of Shedeur. So we're going to showcase one clip is the interception against Arizona. Kansas State just brings 3 on a 3rd and 3. It ends up being an interception, so they drop 8, try to confuse the quarterback. They have that success here. The next clip we're going to watch is a 4th and 1. We're going to see Kansas State bring pressure. So we talked about they blitz strategically. They want to get pressure strategically or when they blitz. So against Colorado, you're probably going to try to get pressure with just bringing 4 guys and drop 7 like teams have done in the past. But if Colorado gets the run game going, that could be a bit different like they did against UCF, right? So let's go ahead and watch the clip here. So we're going to see Kansas State just brings 3. So they're dropping, they drop 8 guys, but you can see they have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys all within, 4 yards line of scrimmage because it is a 3rd and 3. Still does enough to confuse Fafita, who was a really good quarterback last year, kind of growing through some growing pains right now, but does a good job confusing him. Throws an interception, and you got double coverage right there for a pick, right? So again, just an example of just bringing 3 guys to try to confuse the quarterback. And Shedeur's been good against the blitz and when teams have dropped 7 or 8. So it's kind of pick your poison there of how you want to go against it. Here's a 4th and 1. So here's a blitz here, but what I'm impressed about is the speed of Kansas State. I know it's slow motion because of the broadcast footage, so I do apologize. But the speed of Kansas State being able to close in quickly, I think they have an athletic defense, a really good defense. And like we said, they've played really good football. I know BYU, they got 38 points, but a lot of that was because the offense was screwing around, and I think there was like a pick 6, some bad field position stuff. So I think Kansas State's defense is a solid defense. Again, I think the theme for them is they're going to try to get pressure without blitzing. If you blitz, that's one less guy to defend Colorado's dangerous receivers, and for Shedeur to have more space. So let's talk about Shedeur. The main key is vertical throws. I think you're going to have to complete a few vertical throws, which of course Shedeur I think has 16 completions where the ball's thrown 20 yards or more downfield. I don't have the rankings in front of me, but it's got to be one of the higher ones in college football. So number 1, you're going to have to hit on some vertical throws to beat Kansas State ultimately, and that goes hand in hand with probably the biggest key is just find Travis Hunter, which we know Shedeur is very good at doing. So here's a clip against Baylor. Let me move myself out of the way. Clip against Baylor, good throw, push the ball downfield. Again, some vertical shots and finding Travis Hunter. That's probably key number 1 and key number 2 of how you're going to beat Kansas State. Even when they drop 7 or 8, I think you can still have a way to push the ball downfield. And if they do drop 7 or 8 and they do it often, well, this clip right here is going to show exactly how to beat that, to set up the vertical throws. And that's getting the ball out quick, hitting your open receivers so they're able to catch the ball and get a lot of have a lot of yak opportunities. So accuracy underneath, accuracy, getting the ball out quickly and letting your guys get a lot of yak yards. I forget who number 10 is. Again, we do a lot of quarterback content. We don't have all, is it Webster? Yeah, I think it's Webster. We don't have all the names of receivers and running backs, so feel free to let me know who they are in the comments below. I'll do a good job of doing that anyway. So just to recap before we watch this last clip, vertical shots. But to set up the vertical shots, you have the plays like we just watched where you get the ball out quickly, let your receivers do the rest of the work. And then, of course, finding Travis Hunter is always a good idea. But the last key, and this is something we've seen Shedeur do more of lately, he's been running the ball a lot more, at least from the naked eye. But also plays like this where you're buying time with your legs and you're escaping pressure, whether it's by design or it's by what we see here where he fakes guys and able to roll out and push the ball downfield. So I do think he's going to have to utilize his legs to set up the passing game, to throw some balls on the run and to improvise. And, of course, he finds Travis Hunter on this play, on this throw here, right? So just to recap for Shedeur Sanders, get rid of the ball quickly, hit your guys in stride, be accurate, let them get some yak yards. Point number 2, let those plays set up balls downfield, some vertical throws. Again, you have 16 completions where the ball's thrown 20 yards or more downfield. Find Travis Hunter is always a good key and good option to have as well. Then you're going to have to utilize your legs. Maybe some scrambles, right? But definitely utilizing your legs where you're escaping pressure and setting up the throw and throwing on the run. I think Kansas State's a pretty good defense. And they're going to probably try to control the clock, have a lot of time of possession, and get their run game going. I'm really excited for this game. I think it's one of the more interesting matchups of the weekend in a weekend that has a ton of great matchups. So if you're a Colorado fan, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think the keys are for Sanders? What do you think the keys are to beat this Kansas State defense? And as always, thanks for watching. If you haven't seen our content before, we do a lot of we do a lot of quarterback content. So if that's your type of niche that you enjoy, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. It helps us grow. Thanks for following us along. We'll see you next time. Peace.